audience of paint heads. It's James Kalm, your half-house reporter. And today we are out in the Gowanus, part of Brooklyn that's becoming pretty interesting for the local artists. We're going to take a look at a show by Astrid Dick, Kamikaze Ponzi, here at Art Cake. We'll make our little stroll through here. As you know, I like to cover the new neighborhoods and things like that are happening in New York. So, it's Michael David, the proprietor of...
Congratulations.
I'll be back. He ran Michael David and Company, and before that it was Life on Mars. And they're out in Bushwick, but now they have relocated to this neighborhood. Hello, hi, good, hi. That's James Kalm, please. There's the artist. So we'll take a look at the work and maybe chat with some people. We'll start out with this piece. Everybody Needs Black Square. Okay, so this is a parody of I think it's Melovich, one of the early constructivists, or maybe he was a suprematist, I'm not sure. This is pigment and binder on canvas. This is stripes from Madame Dubarry 2024, vinyl paint and glitter on found foam. Well, I think Astrid is one of the proponents of the glitter movement. There are a couple of other people that have sort of made reputations from doing glittery pieces, using a lot of glitter. Mondrian Forever, soil on canvas 84 by 72 inches. Well, we see our grid in the background here. I think one of the features that Astrid's aesthetics has is her kind of a basic formalism, so we're always dealing with things like the grid, the picture plane, various levels of painterly activity and things. And there's also a lot of wiping, scraping, gouging, and I'm looking at the surface. I'm wondering if she has some kind of a basic foundation of, almost looks like Formica, it's so smooth. So I talked about Astrid's formalism, and here's kind of where it goes off the tracks a little bit. Astrid also likes to bring in weird materials. Here we got some bubble wrap, and there is a certain grid that's involved in that. But somehow when you take it out, put it on the wall covered in glitter, it becomes something else. It's another glitter piece. This is untitled, for Robert Ryman. And we all love Robert. He was maybe one of the great monochrome painters of all time. And here's the nice thing. His son, Cordy Ryman, and I believe his brother, maybe brothers Ethan, have set up this space. And in that way, I think Robert Ryman and his aesthetic sense kind of carries over. And Okay, this is not a white monochrome, but even with just the electric magenta, it kind of pushes that realm. And then again, you've got our black square, except this isn't just a black square, it's a little canvas. And then, of course, Astrid couldn't resist. She's got her rhinestones. Okay, this is titled Little Rave, Glitter Pigment and Binder on Canvas. And 72 by 50. You would initially look at this and think it's a monochrome, and then if you walk around and see a little shifting light, you realize, gee, it's actually a grid with flat black, and then it's kind of like black glitter. It's got some other things mixed in there, which I guess is kind of a strange combination of the dark glitter. So like they call it the dark energy of the universe. X 2023 sequins on fabric on canvas. Well, I think Astrid also has a studio out here. One of the things that Art Cake does, and I think they have internships or some kind of artist in residency program here, and they've got some studios and various facilities up there. It's pretty flashy. It's a green square from Mondrian 2023, oil on canvas, and then next to it is Vanitas. Okay, and even again, we're looking at this, we can see it looks like a color bar at the bottom that's been painted over, and then even the what looks like just a primer coat is actually painted in grids. And we've got our little, again, we've got our monochromes, although this one's got some glitter pockets. Kind of looks like galaxies out in the cosmos somewhere. The Dentelier 2024 oil and crushed glass on mirror on wood panel. Okay, that kind of creates an interesting conceptual idea of painting. What happens if you take silver glitter, put it onto a silver mirror, right? You could paint silver over it, but in this case, Astrid just painted white over there. And you start to get some very strange things happening with the light and the reflections. And this is titled Rave 2024, Glitter and Pigment Binder on Canvas. Okay, the other one down there is Little Rave. This is Big Rave, but it's pretty hard to tell the difference between them on the little gallery guide thing here. Okay, this is 100 by 80 inches. I was saying that there's been a whole lot of, well, I wouldn't say a whole lot of people, but a certain group of people, and some of them are very young, that are working with glitter, mirror, leaves, various strange, shiny materials, but you would always think that that would have a certain kind of underlying flavor of kitsch, or kind of like little kids making projects in their kindergarten class with the squirting the glue and throwing the glitter in there. But there are some people that have been able to kind of punch through that whole way of thinking about it and do some pretty nice formalist abstraction. Piatinera complementaries from Mondrian. Okay, so here we've got Astrid's bars of color. And again, look close, we've got a grid penciled in there. I was talking to somebody about, they were a drafts person, someone that did a lot of work drawing on paper, and I said, I went to the show and I told the artist, Don Clemens, that I liked what was happening because she was starting to do some painting in there. I said, there's a painter inside you trying to come out. And in a way, I think Astrid is that kind of a painter where she really, there's a lot of sensual pleasure here, but there's also a kind of a core of formalism. So we got her a little extra pumped up square of white there on the white ground. And then there's a lot of transparent magentas, violets, some blues, and there's some juicy stuff. Okay. Photo op. Okay. Well, this is one take redo Tiger Hunt 2021 to 24. This is oil on canvas. Okay, so, well, I talked about how Astrid likes to use various kinds of materials. And I think she's got two kind of battling aesthetics. One of them is you want to use all the strange, shiny, modern materials you can. But I think Astrid also has another side to it, which is I want to carry on the legacy of kind of classic abstract oil painting. And so you've got the two parts of the dialectic there. And also, let's see if we can see some of the sheer surface variations. A lot of this is pretty dry, but then she's got some sections where things get a little thicker and oilier, shinier. We'll finish up the paintings in the large gallery with this one. And the curls of an acrobat for Jean Genet. It's 2024, 81 by 70 inches. Well, if you're not familiar with Jean Genet, I think he was a poet, playwright, one of the, I guess you might even consider him part of the existentialist crowd that was happening in Paris in the World War II period, after World War II. And I think Jean Genet actually did some hard time in jail and based some of his plays on some of his crimes he was charged with. Well, I was saying that kind of get an echo of Joan Mitchell a little bit here with the kind of the nice color things, but I think Astrid is working in a much thinner, maybe even faster way on some of these. And I was noticing the blue crossbars here, and I mentioned this to a gentleman. I said, what does that make you think of? He said, well, I'm a musician, and so these are like the bars on a piece of music or a score. And I said, well, that's interesting because that kind of brings in some kind of time element. Let's go in the back room. Exhibition continues. I think one of the interesting things about having this in a place with controlled lighting is that you really get a chance to experience the reflectivity of the work. This is titled 0/1.2024, 60 by 48. And again, so we're doing more than just working with the sequins and things. You're also kind of reproducing looks like kind of a worn down, scrubbed piece of paper, or maybe something that was a poster in the streets. Okay, this is for Pope 1, 2024, glitter pigments and binder on gallery floor. So this has a kind of a performative aspect to it. I was talking to Michael David, we'll try to snag him later. He was talking about how some of the Buddhists and the Native Americans would do these paintings, sand paintings, and they were just temporary and they were very sacred. This is great, but also the lighting helps. Okay, well, we've got a little video here. I think they're calling this Everybody Needs a Black Square 2023. Super 8 film, 2 minutes 30 seconds. Okay, I like that line. True believer goes for bike ride. Pedaling your bike with your canvas on there. Okay. I'm also thinking this kind of makes me think of her reference at the Black Square of the famous Sigmar Polk piece, which was higher powers have demanded that I paint the upper right corner of this painting green, something like that. We're going to wrap up looking at this piece. This is Untitled 2024, glitter and pigment and binder on canvas. And, well, Halloween is coming up. On my way out here, I must have passed 20 people that had their Halloween displays up. And, of course, the skull is always popular, along with the jack-o'-lantern. And again, the way that she's using the glitter, it's more like paint. And I think probably if you were to get down and study this, each one of the colors and the various sizes of the glitter chunks probably affects the way that this reads as far as your color elements go. Well, we've snagged Astrid Dick and Michael David. We're going to talk a little bit about the show, but first of all, yes.
We want to say bravo To James Conroy's fantastic show.
Okay.
Long overdue.
I want to
thank
say
you.
that I actually wanted to come to that show.
But you were planning and working here probably until 3 o'clock in the morning.
For months, and that was the first show that I was going to go. But we were still working here.
I understand.
And that's why I look so tired.
Okay.
And that's why I couldn't come to your show. But congratulations.
Thank you.
I will surely come very soon
Thank
to see
you.
that
There's
historic show.
There is great karma, because I know him from '79. He's been doing that thing on the bicycle for 100 years, championing other artists. He has been overlooked, and for him to have this moment at this point of his life is inspiring and profound for everybody that keeps
Okay, thank you.
It's true.
Thank you. We're talking about embarrassing. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions.
Yes, please.
Well, one of the things is as you know, I keep track of the neighborhoods and things like this, and you were out in Bushwick for many years, running Michael David. Before that, it was Life on Mars, and now you've relocated here to the art cake thing in the Gowanus. Tell me what your thoughts are about the changes and just the way that the local art community is kind of evolving.
Well, there are a couple things. First of all, I don't have it in me to do 10 shows a year. I don't have access to great artists to do 10 shows a year. So here I can do 4 or 6. But the fact that there's studios upstairs here also
Yes.
create energy. But more than that, what Cordy has done here, Cordy Ryman,
Yes, Cordy.
this space, there's no other space where artists can show their work in a non-commercial space of this scale and this beauty. And it inspires people to do work and to fully realize it. And as a curator, it's like a gift to show something like this. It's like a Kunststall. And to have,
Yes.
to have Astrid, who painted with this space in mind, realize what her vision was before this space is why it's still rewarding and still something that I'm excited about.
So you've actually almost got a little community here just in the building. You've got people upstairs in studios, and I know there are some people that live within 5 or 6 blocks of here that are doing things.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, thanks for that. And now we're going to talk to the artist. Astrid, so you have a studio upstairs, is that correct too?
Unfortunately, not.
You don't?
It's upstairs, a little bit further up, 2 hours and a half north
Oh.
at Judy Fab's. Right now, I'm squatting there,
So where did you make the paintings at?
over there in Tivoli, New York.
And you've been working on the show for how long?
I've been working on the show, in fact, for my whole life. But for the paintings that are here, most of them were made in the last 2 months and a half.
Last 2.5 months.
I came from Paris end of July, and I realized as we were making the list of works that most works were painted in the last 2 months.
So you are French? Are you a Parisian or?
I am French, yeah, for the last 2 decades almost. I am originally from Argentina.
Argentina.
And I am also an American citizen and Italian citizen.
Do you play
should edit that
soccer?
out because
You
it'll
must-
get me in trouble with it.
You must play soccer, or you at least pay attention to soccer at all? Or?
Oh yeah, but in soccer it's very clear. I'm only Argentine.
Okay. It's like the Yankees, man. It's like the Yankees. Anyway, we were also having a little discussion about your use of glitter. And Michael was talking about how he feels that you've kind of pushed the glitter, that there are a lot of people that are using glitter in various ways, a lot of young artists. But you've been doing this for a while. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your ideas and thoughts about using glitter as a painting medium?
Well, glitter is complicated because it's so attractive.
Yes.
So you can never go wrong with glitter, but then it feels as a painter like a cheap trick. So you gotta make it work for you. I used glitter as a kid, brillantina, we call it in Argentina, brillantina. I would cover all my books with brillantina, with glitter. And then Michael David was working with mirror, and I had a kind of like an open studio at Judy Fab's we were doing with Judy and Hideo. So I was interacting with these artists who use like electric light and like installation and mirror and monumental works, and there I was with like oil paintings, and you know, it's very hard to have an oil painting right next to all that things,
the shiny,
the shine that captures all the light,
right.
and you see yourself in it. So I was emboldened to just use glitter at that point and go full on, not just like use a little glitter, but just make pretty large.
Push the
I mean,
whole
of
realm
course,
of.
inspired by Chris Martin, who has been doing it forever.
Yes, we love Chris.
We adore Chris Martin, huge inspiration. So it all kind of came to, but I always felt, oh, but it's a cheap shot, it's a cheap, and then it's like, just do it, like you gotta like hang right next to Michael David. You always loved Chris Martin, and you were the first one to use glitter because when you were 6 years old, you were covering all your books with glitter in Argentina. So I thought it's time I just make glitter paintings.
So now, when you're doing work like this, do you have like a palette of glitter? Do you have like little buckets of various colors that you're working with on a
secrets?
table? Absolutely, we want all the secrets.
All right. Well,
or you can be as vague as you want to.
Well, it's I make my buckets to be as carefully as possible because it's actually not very good for you. I just heard that it's been banned in Germany. So glitter painters make as many glitter paintings as you can now because they will be banned and
Sounds
they become
good.
scarce resources. So just go for it. I mix them in like buckets, and that's the trick. Like you actually want to, you don't just like, you buy glitter from like cheap, buy it cheap. You don't need expensive glitter. It doesn't make a difference. The trick is to mix it, and then you mix it with paint. You use it like pigment. That's, I think, what makes glitter.
And you've got a lot of various kind of shapes and sizes and grades of glitter, and
exactly.
So there's a whole lot of, it's a whole spectrum of like pigment.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got the secrets. Okay, Astrid Dick.
That's what you do.
Yes.
You feel so comfortable with
About glitter, use of glitter. If you look at like a painting like that, what she's using is glitter as part of it, not glitter just for the sake of glitter. That painting is made up with an incredible mixture of, I can't tell you what, with oil and charged pigment. And the glitter is just used sparingly in it. It could be anything. And it goes back to a tradition of Titian, who would use impasto to catch light.
Sure. And glazes and all kinds of things.
So
yeah.
She's not using it for glitter's sake. She's using it as part of her vocabulary as a painter. And the other thing that I find particularly moving is in that other room, that square, which goes back to Native American sand painting and Buddhist painting, where they would have a ceremonial thing where they would use that to create, a state of spirituality and connection. She's elevating something like glitter, which is seen as a throwaway, into this thing that is very, very moving and a spiritual act. And all of her paintings are about trying to find and extend that moment when she is transformed.
Kind of a moment of ecstasy, a little light that caused by the light.
Whether it's oil paint,
that's right. Rembrandt was going for the light. This is just another way of capturing the light.
It doesn't make a difference.
Okay, I got one more question for you. I also noticed that there is a formalistic side to you. You've got some references to Mondrian and some other people, Malevich in the Black Square. Could you talk a little bit about your ideas about formalism and the grids and all that?
Well, it's very hard to make a gestural painting because why would you do it? Why this and not that? And I think I always was interested in the structure of Mondrian, who I think he's the most radical artist of the 20th century because he's also, he did it all. He completely believed in what he was doing. He left a fiancé in Amsterdam to go to Paris. He didn't come from money. He gave it all. He became a monk of painting and found these structures that, these compositions are just so eternal. I was just looking at a friend of mine, Susan Friken's daughter, and I was talking to Susan Friken about Mondrian, how his compositions, they do feel eternal. And so it's because he didn't just come up with, it wasn't an idea, it was inhabited and he gave birth to them. And so I have been thinking every artist pretty much thinks about the black square, thinks about
Yes.
Mondrian. But when is it the time for you to actually go in there? When will you give birth to the black square? And I've been waiting for it for years. And like last year, I gave birth to the black square while I was in residency at Yaddo. And then it's the first little painting that's at the entrance. And
I saw that, yes.
And it was mine. It was mine. And it's not exactly a black square. It's not, It's,
No, there's always a little fun, a little tweak, a little something around the edges that keeps it from being just totally kind of geometric, just mathematics. There's the little spiritual, the little tricky, little human noogie out there.
There's something else that's different. Certainly you can see precedents in other painters that mix abstract tropes. You think of someone like Albert Owen. But in Astrid's paintings, there is not one drop of irony. They may be brilliant, they may be strategic, they may be conceptual, but they are devoted and passionate. They have a radical sincerity, which separates them out from a kind of more strategic abstraction.
Okay, well, that says a lot. Astrid Dick, Michael David, it's been a long day. Congratulations on the opening.
Go see Lauren Moore.
Okay.
yes.
So thanks for chatting with us about the paintings. James Kalm reporting on Astrid Dick, Kamikaze Ponzi here at Art Cake, and Michael David and Company. And this is the Gowanus Canal, famous Gowanus Canal. So when you hear people talking about art in the Gowanus district, you'll know what they're talking about. And as you can see, there's been a lot of development here in the last couple of years. This was also a DEA superside cleanup spot for 20 years. And that tower there is the tallest skyscraper outside of Manhattan in the eastern United States. Yes, peeps, well now we're down in the Gowanus district of Brooklyn, and we're gonna run in here and we're gonna visit the TAPPETO VOLANTE project's space to see a Bascha Mon show. Stay tuned. I've spent some time visiting some of the galleries down here, but it's a kind of a bustling art community that's on the upswing as far as galleries and all that stuff goes. Well, we're going to take a stroll through a show that Bascha has titled A Celebratory Retrospective of an Artist's Life and Journey of Dreaming, Perseverance, Activism, and Unconscious Expression, or Bascha Mon Solo Show. This basically represents about 50 years of Bascha's work. I've received a couple of requests from, well, Bascha herself and other people that I respect saying I had to come by for the show. Normally, I never do requests, but in this case, and I'll explain, I relented and decided I would come by. It's not that far away from my neighborhood, and it's on the way to and from Art Cake, which I visit pretty regularly. And, well, Bascha is 92 at this point, and I guess she said she hasn't had a show in New York in 40 years. So, well, perseverance is part of the title, so we're going to at least give her a little attention for preserving for that period of time. Okay, this is titled Reverberations 1978, Oil on Homocoat. Which I think looks kind of like masonite. Also, I always pay attention to the way paintings change over time. Well, I was talking to the gallerist, and this may be apocryphal, but one of the stories that I'd heard about Bascha Mon was that she decided she really wanted to pursue her career. She tried to join a group called AAA, the American Abstract Artists of America Association, something like that. Anyway, this is an association that had been around since the late 30s, early 40s. A lot of people had been in it. But by the time Bascha wanted to become a member, they had sort of settled into a standard approach to abstraction. Okay, this is titled Maps and Games #2. It's also oil and perlite on homicida board, which is kind of like masonite. Anyway, this particular group was very much into hard edge abstraction, kind of geometrical abstraction. And this is about the time that I think minimalism was still reigning, color field, those kinds of ideas. This is In Memory from the Recollection series, 1978 to 1981. This is 48 by 48. This is kind of interesting. Okay, so Bascha's got a little figure. It's almost like a reclining princess or something. She's got a little tiara there. And, well, now that I'm looking at the work, I think there's also almost a kind of an outsider quality, a naive folk art aspect to this, some of it. A Shopper's Guide to Prince Street, 1979. I was also thinking that when I first came in here and looked at this, there was a certain almost kind of a Bonnard echo, kind of recalling some of the palettes of the Fauves and those artists that kind of came between the Impressionists and the Post-Impressionists, kind of the symbolists. I was also thinking this does kind of make me think of looking through a lace curtain out a window onto a street. Oh, and Bascha, in her little note to me, said she appreciated my close-ups on the painting surfaces, so we'll make a point to show her brushwork close up. Artifice and Artifact from Recollection series. This is 1978. I was thinking that this, especially with this kind of broken up cubistic composition, is something you could see in the galleries today and it would look fresh. I also talk about how Bascha was ready to go to Paris to study at the Sorbonne, and so she eloped when she was like 19, something like that, and put on hold her studies and became a mom. She had a couple of sons, so that'll sap your time. It's titled Maps and Games 1978, Oil and Perlite on Homicida, 48 by 48. It looks like we've got some sand or something mixed in with some of the paint. I actually like the flat surfaces that Bascha has achieved. And there's some scraping. This is untitled. Oil on Linen 24 by 24. I like the date on this. 1998 to 2000 or earlier. Also, it's kind of ambiguous. This could be a landscape, but it also almost could be a still life with a couple of wine bottles and maybe some flowers stuck in there. Earth, Air, Sky, A Prayer to the Goddess, 2012. There are a couple of interesting pieces from 2012. This is Searching for Joy, Lemon Glow, 2012, oil on linen, surrounded by 7 works on paper, oil on oil paper, oil pigment gouache on Yupo gouache on paper, overall size variable. So the large lemon glow is kind of like the nexus, the center of this selection of works. Okay, let's see how I got these mounted here. Okay, they're on, it's like little wood stretchers, so they're kind of suspended from the wall by about an inch or so. Also, I think Bascha's got kind of a unique palette in that some of the pieces are very high-keyed, and other pieces like this suite up here are kind of based on earth tones, and then she brings out the highlights by presenting higher intensity shades and tones. And I would say that that large panel is probably, 48 by 48. Okay, this is a similar idea, except that your small panels are flush, as if the top of that painting was a little shelf. Actually, it's interesting. It's almost like a desert landscape, and some of these smaller panels would be details that have been taken out. Okay, these 3 pieces are the most recent pieces. This is 2024. When conscious mind is in a jumble, what is unconscious saying? Well, that's a good question. I was also told by the gallerist that this was initially a set of 4 paintings, but one of them has gone to was it the Toronto Art Fair? Yeah, the Toronto Art Fair, so I was just getting some exposure. This is sad yet hopeful. Unite. It's kind of a yin-yangy thing, yes. Also, I'd noticed, as I said, I've been kind of following Bascha on Instagram for a while, and then my account was hacked, and I haven't been seeing much of her work, and I guess that she's now in senior care. But I think she really has bumped up the color with these pieces on paper, the gouache pieces. And we're going to wrap up looking at this piece. Flying Free, carbon pencil, lead pencil gouache on Arches paper. And this is 18 by 14 inches. And, well, you can tell that somebody that's been painting for 50 or 60 years, they have a certain sense of how you can apply paint and the different things you can do. We've got the overlays, the scumbling, the scraping, the goobing on things, scraping other things off. James Kalm reporting on Bascha Mon, a celebratory retrospective of an artist's life and journey of dreaming, perseverance, activism, and unconscious expression. And this is a 50-year celebration of Bascha Mon, which says a lot because, you know, some people could give up, but if you stick with it, and you keep doing it until you're 92, hopefully people are going to start to pay attention. And this is all at the TAPPETO VOLANTE project here in the Gowanus. You can like this, share, link it up to all your social media sites. You can subscribe, and you can leave your thoughts, ideas, comments, criticisms, reviews, and suggestions below, as long as you say, "Thank you, Kate." Okay, thank you. Street Shred. Okay, NY.